Here we go. So thank you, Zoom, for changing all the buttons on me. They move stuff around. But that's very good. Kenny's in a teepee. Look at
Yeah,
that. Very good, Kenny. Okay, impressive. I'm glad
it's a real one.
it's a real one. Well,
Here.
yeah,
Yeah, it's here. It's like
that's great.
there
Okay.
it is.
And there we go. Okay. Very good. That's something that most people don't. All California realtors have teepees. So okay, so great. What I want to do is dig into this and speak with all of you, because again, everyone has an experience with the top agent in their area. And if we could identify the behaviors that they're actually doing and what they're doing on a day-to-day basis, I think you're going to be halfway to achieving at least a little bit of an attitude, or at least a little bit of a strategy to get from point A to point B. Now, many of my meetings are focused on AI, they're focused on marketing, they're focused on sales. As I always say, we will do anything that will help you make money. There's some forums that do stuff on realtor safety, which is really important. It's just not what I do. What we do here is really try and do this. Now, this month in particular, I went from extremely high tech to now extremely low tech, and that is, what are the characteristics of the agents that continually win? Andy, you know I'm going to pick on you. Greg, you know I'm going to pick on you. Alicia, I'm probably going to pick on you. Paula, I'm definitely picking on you. So, that is where the heads up for these people. And I can pick on absolutely anyone who's willing to chat about this. Let me just ask you, let's start with Andy. Andy, the top producer, in that you come in contact with on a fairly regular basis, whoever that might be.
Okay.
Their characteristics. Let's just talk briefly about that.
Like characteristics, like their personality, or
personality, where they're hanging. What I want to make an actual virtual avatar of what everyone here thinks is the winner of real estate, and then I want to see what areas of that we could borrow to be able to put into our own attitude. It's very subjective, by the way.
Right.
This is not, there's no right or wrong answers, which is why all of you should participate. Okay,
right.
there.
I would say someone who is basically out and about, knows the area super well, is completely on social media, engaging in people, talking about, the restaurants, the bars, it's not just about, all the real estate at all. Someone who seems to know a lot of people and just it seems like they have it all going on, kind of thing. So, yeah, people who are very connected and seems like they're doing everything, like they're reaching out to people, they're in multiple different ways. They're just like hitting all the different spots.
Okay.
Generate that.
So hold on, let's back it up. Community involved, knows the business.
Yes.
A loudmouth, for lack of a better word, and I mean loudmouth. I'm a loudmouth. I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it's a good thing. Right? Okay.
Right. Knows the area, knows the people they're on social media, they're doing videos, they're just kind of touching everything. Okay. So they're everywhere you look, here they are, type of thing.
Sure. Okay. Colin O'Leary, you commented in here. Can I pick on you? I've never picked on you before, but if it's okay, it won't hurt. You have to unmute yourself though, Colin. Maybe? Kind of, sort of. Okay, here we go. Colin, you put your little link up there. Want to just tell everyone who you are and where you are?
Sure, yeah. My name is Colin O'Leary. I'm an agent in New York City and Naples, Florida. I spent my first 10 years, I'm a New York native, and I did real estate for over a decade in New York City, where I continue to do so. But 6 months ago, my family and I relocated to Naples, Florida. So I'm active down here now as well. I'm with Berkshire Hathaway. Yeah, besides that, I grew up in New York, Long Island. I lived in New York City for the last 15 years, and I'm an Air Force veteran.
Well, thank you for your service. If you're going to mention that, that's great stuff. I really do mean that, by the way. So
thank you.
They are a center of influence in the community, love helping people. Okay, so give examples, if you can. You
So
weren't
I
expecting it,
think
so I
that
won't pick on you too hard. But knowing that you're a military man, I know I could probably pick on you a little bit more than others.
definitely. So yeah, I think a lot of people get into this business. They're attracted by uh the lifestyle, and get to make their own schedule and to make a lot of money. A lot of people are attracted to this business, but the people that I see that have success at the highest levels, they really like love people and they love helping people. And that's not most realtors. Like most realtors, they get into this business because they want to make a lot of money, and they don't necessarily like to help people. They're more self-interested. But the top people in this business, they love helping people, and that's probably why that they're so successful.
Sure.
So I got to remind myself of that sometimes, because I do really like to help people. But at the end of the day, that's what this business is about. It's like service and helping people get where they need to go.
Okay.
So yeah, that's my take on it.
So we got service, we got people that are always out there. We've got social media. Paula, could I pick on you? You knew this was coming. You can't tell me that you're surprised, okay? Paula, you work with a load of agents as well. What is the characteristic? We're going to spend the first few minutes talking about that. Then we're going to try and distill what you could borrow from these ideas.
Right. Based on what Andy said, I agree. You can't, it's not like one thing is going to make you successful. It's not a one size fits all kind of thing. You have to do multiple types of advertising, social media. And again, like she said, not always about real estate, because people are like, oh, she's talking about real estate again. I just put up, I have a place in Naples too that we just came back from a couple of days ago, only got 4 short days away, but happy to do it. And I was very curious about the beaches and the condition of the beaches and the pier and everything. So I did a little short video about that. And I said, you know what? It doesn't mention real estate. They know who I am. So I
Sure.
just put it on and see, like I said, I was kind of like not really interested in getting in front of the camera lately, but I did it. I posted after I get home. I don't want anybody to know my house is empty, but it's not always about real estate. And I try to even reach out to some of the restaurants and see who wants to get on camera. So that's a big deal too, or
Brilliant.
community events.
How were people watching it? You talk about the viewership of that.
Well, I just put it on like a half hour ago, so let's
Okay.
see how it goes.
Okay, so
But
everyone,
I forgot
do
to
me a
post
favor,
it.
put in the chat your social media. And guys, I'd love for everyone to follow one another. I think Paula is a quality person, good person to know. So I think everyone should want to do that, and then you should follow them back. I do want to make sure that everyone actually connects here. So thank you for that. Who else? What are the thoughts on the characteristics of the thing? And I say this for a very, very good reason. There's certain knee-jerk reactions that agents have from where I sit, that if somebody puts up in a chat, let's say I'm with Douglas Elliman Real Estate, most of you are not. I don't discriminate. I like people in any agency. Remember, you're one bad management away from moving agencies, always. Always. This forum is about you and your career, not about the agency that you're with. But I'm with Elliman. I love Elliman. I love my people there. And one thing that's really interesting, when you go to an Elliman event and somebody says, an agent in Los Angeles, what comes up over and over again, more than anything else, are the same names. You hear from multiple people. When people mention Brooklyn, very often we hear Terry Robeson. Now, and Terry's here, and Terry always knows that I'm going to pick on him, and it's out of love. He's been a friend of mine for 25 years. So we can really hit on all this. What do you suppose makes someone immediately identify an agent with a specific area? This is a very, very important question, guys. Today, you could crack the code. You really can. You could figure this one thing out. Paula, go ahead. And then I'll get you. I can see you want to talk, Penny. I'm going to get you.
Yeah, branding.
What?
Branding.
Branding. Okay, elaborate.
Branding. It's all about branding.
Okay.
Well, you know what? Years ago, I was like, well, I don't have enough signs. I don't have enough listings. What am I going to do to get my face out there? And I started doing the bus shelter ads, those coverings in New York that we have along the side of the road. And I started with one, and I have 4 panels now, which cost me a bunch of money, but it's the best advertising that I do because all I have to do is write the check. You know, and we had a cease and desist list here where you couldn't mail, do not mail for a long time. We don't have that anymore. But I'm also doing postcards again, and just it's a lot of different things. And
Would
the
it
bus
be
ads
too
a bit.
personal if I asked you how much the 4 bus ads, the bus shelter ads are? Is that, if you don't want to answer, tell me.
No, it's okay. I don't mind. It cost me $13.50 a month.
$1,350.
Yeah, this guy gives me a great, because one panel really is
for all
everywhere. Yeah, for 4 of them, for $13.50, it's a great number. And one can be $650 to $800, you know, so that's a very good price.
And how do you prove the
And it
success
works.
out of that?
It works. You
What
know,
is
it's a little, did I lose you? freeze?
your connection is just a little choppy. But my question to you is, how do you judge
Okay.
success on that? Are you able to identify when people are calling you based on that, or is there branding? Like, what exactly? $13.50, you're right, it's a great deal. It's still getting close to $20,000 a year. You know, it's still $16,000-$17,000. So how do you judge success on that campaign?
Listings that come from it and the
Okay.
exposure. I've had everyone that I come in contact with say, "Oh, I see your ads," or "I see you everywhere." And that's the kind of response that you want. I see you everywhere. And I did get a listing recently from somebody that I hadn't seen in a long time, you know, a mom of one of the kids. We went to school together. And she said, you know, "I just saw your ad, having trouble with my other broker, got rid of them, and, you know, I'm hiring you," and we sold it. So it
Okay.
leads to listings and exposure. And people will start. It's a little embarrassing because I feel like a kind of a celebrity. You know, it's the last thing
Yeah.
you, nobody thinks about being a public figure when they get into real estate, but that's what we are.
In many respects,
That's what we are.
we are. So, but that's good. Just so leaning into that as well, without giving us the dollar amount that you actually made, can you talk about what you attribute, how many deals you attribute to these bus shelter
Yeah, I see
ads?
my connection is unstable. I don't know if you can hear me for some
Okay,
reason.
Paul, did you hear
Not
what I
sure.
just asked?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I would say it's probably at least 3 to 4 listings per year, which is well worth it in my
It's
market.
okay. So that's good. I'm always loving these. Believe it or not, I've had, you know, is Tinka here now? Tinka has I don't think she's here. In any case, she has a bus bench that she's had, and I always sit in the bunch bench and pretend to pick her nose, you know, get a picture that way. You know, Tinka and I are dear friends, so I'll do like little things. I'll like poke her in the eye or something on her sign, but she swears by it. And so it's interesting to hear because I've never done a bus shelter ad or anything like that, and people do swear by that. I'm glad that you brought that up. Terry, I want to pick on you for a second. You with me? Okay, gotcha. Something? Can you hear me? Is that, can you speak? There's no voice? What?
The button.
Oh,
I
no,
can't.
but no, it's working. We hear you.
Oh, you do hear me?
We do hear you.
Then please excuse my technology.
You're like Dorothy. You've had all the power all along. All you need to do is click your heels and say there's no place like home. Listen, but you know, so you've got the brand. I think that you definitely have something where people do have the knee-jerk reaction. And this is, we're going to talk about market segmentation for a minute. The agents in the Element offices and the people that I meet will oftentimes refer to you when it comes to Brooklyn. How is that a thing? What do you attribute that to? More than just your estuary video and more, what is it that we could possibly bottle up? It might be too ambiguous. I don't know, but let's give it a shot.
Well, I agree with what my peers are saying here. You have to do multiple approaches. Before the pandemic, I was going, Douglas Elliman was expanding coast to coast. So I made a point of going to our Beverly Hills office, and I put a presentation together called You Know Brooklyn. And I had a 2-minute version, a 7-minute version, a 15-minute version, whatever time they would give me. I would go to the office meetings in Beverly Hills. I came to your office in Boca, did the same thing, brought cake from juniors, and planted the seeds that I know Brooklyn. And it seems to have worked itself out that way. I've also tried to find a niche within this company that I can, I am the voice of God for Douglas Elliman Real Estate, and that helps me keep my name in front of everyone else in the company as well. I still do tons of videos. I still do lots of mailers. I do all the stuff that you do, but I feel like it's important to, Edmund, you taught me this actually. Your fellow agents are your best source of referrals.
They could be.
So, yeah. So I really try to work that, and that's what I got.
Within your company, whether you are with like Colin with Berkshire Hathaway or Eddie in North Carolina, or any one of you folks, wherever you might be, here's an exercise to help you along. And please write this down. Find out who the top person is, or the top people. Alicia, you and I spoke about someone who's on your team who seems to be a very prominent name in all of this. It doesn't mean that there's not room for somebody else. There is. Here's the thing. As famous as you might think you are, Paula, with your bus ad, it's famous, and just like me, famous within St. Andrews Country Club. I'm famous within 728 people here. You know, why do I say that? It's not arrogance. I spent a fortune being famous here. It's by design. You know, this isn't Coke or Pepsi. You know, this isn't something that you're trying to be famous on a national level. I want you to try and be famous on a micro level, or within, if it's not going to be a micro geographic area, it can be within a certain ecosystem. Your company itself is a phenomenal ecosystem. Coaching platforms. There's some people, is anyone here in Tom Ferry or Brian Buffini? Okay. So the coaching platforms, Paula, since you're in a coaching platform, there are people that come up over and over and over again, right? There's people that you really see over and over and over again. So if you want to go do this approach, and by the way, some of you might think this idea sucks, maybe it's far too forward for you and you'd like to take a more stealth approach, that's fine. These meetings are designed to be able to come up with what suits you in your growth. So I'm saying to all of you, if you truly want to go for it, if you truly want to be that dominant person that actually gets the leads from people, we've got to break it down and take a look at the individual characteristics that are actually making them well known. Who's got some other thoughts? You know, I want to be able to, okay, Kenny. Kenny's been waiting patiently. Kenny, why don't you tell everyone briefly who you are and where you are?
Hi, I'm Kenny Bellini. I've been in the business for decades. I've been with Coldwell Banker. I've been in some management with Berkshire Hathaway. I've been with TELUS before it became Elliman, then Elliman. But I could keep going on. But anyway, you know, the biggest thing is, you know, if you look at the top agents, all of them have a farm area. I mean, because it's a consistent thing. So, you know, basically be a big fish in a small pond and then add water. I mean, add water, like make your farm bigger, get another area. Also, I've always done condos and houses and then more higher end. And just like a diverse market, when you know, just like when you go shopping and you go into a store and there's different prices, because condos turn over faster. There's more of them. You could get them in a condensed area. You could take one block. I got my wife into the business and gave her a listing, and she's already done like 4 or 5 in one building. So that's why I got her started, starting with a lease. But you know, that's a big turnover always, especially with people changing jobs in Los Angeles or wherever. And my market was mostly Santa Monica. I started off in Venice, and I've been wherever. Now I've got an office up in Bel Air that I use in LA, and I'm living in another little town, which I really haven't been marketing here. And I probably should be own a home here. It's an hour and a half out of LA, but the prices are a lot lower. So why, you know, burn out. But anyway, but the big thing is, and also be seen, you know, really talk to people every day. Talk to people. I'm out at restaurants, breakfast every day, probably. You know, I got my favorite bagel place, so forth, and people know me.
We've got to. So, any other point you want to? Again, I got to hold back the reins every now and then, but I want you to talk, but I want to be able to get it out here. It's a very, very good point. Going to the bagel shop, getting different things. I hear, I've got 2 letters a day. Remember the law of 2. I just did a post on that. 2 letters a day, 2 people added to your email database per day, at least 2 social media posts per day. Adding 2 new people to your email list is really, really important, because just think about it. You do it, no one's going to do it for 365 days. Hopefully you do it more than 200 days, but let's say it's only 200 days in a year. You've added 400 people in a year. That's on top of who you've actually added right now. I cannot emphasize this enough. Small incremental growth is what really wins the game. Does it mean that you can't make a fortune your first year out? Of course you can. Of course you could do very, very well. There's plenty of examples of people who've done that. But what you really want is to be able to say and have the confidence. I've got the confidence to know that my phone is going to ring a few times this week with buyers and or sellers. How many people could really say that? That's what this meeting's all about. And Greg, to answer your question, define top, it's a good one. I would like to define that. Top is, since the average realtor in America makes no money. I mean, quite literally, that everyone looks at $1 million listing, but the average realtor, I think if you take all the winnings from all the realtors, the average income is about $30,000 a year. If you really did a mean average across. So most people are not living the life of Riley in here. That's not what it is. Top has got to be what you really regard. I'm at the top of my game in my immediate farm area. I could say that without being a prick about it. I really am. I'm at the top of my game of where I am, but that really truly is by design. And when I'm not a liar. I will actually say to myself, boy, we're really screwing up. We got to figure out a way to get from point A to point B. But Greg, you asked the question. Why don't you give me an answer? What are your thoughts on the top person?
Well, I actually think you just defined it. A person who is self-aware of where they stand, and is satisfied with their, I'm going to use a broad term and say life.
Yeah. It's an interesting question that you asked, because I did a social media post about top producers, and I mentioned that I've done about 20 million in sales, or I think 23 million in sales last year or something. And they said, so that's top? In other words, their expectation was much, much higher. And the answer is, yeah, it's true. I guess if you're looking at somebody who's doing 22 million in sales as not really successful, then you're probably correct. I'm not the guy that did the $100 million in sales. But it really needs to come from within. Is that still make one better? To me, I'm he or she who is rich is satisfied with their portion. And I think that we really need to get that through our heads. I'm focused on the luxury space, but there's people in here who are not, and they make a very good living doing that. And guess what? The headaches they have with their clients are the same headaches that I have with my clients. That's what makes this forum such a great thing, because human nature hasn't changed. We'll be having this conversation 100 years from now. We're still going to have the same issues, the same problems. Okay, who else wants to chime in on this? This is kind of exciting to me. It kind of jazzes me up in the morning here. Thoughts? Avez-vous compris? Somebody?
Can I jump?
Terry, go ahead, please. You can say anything, Terry.
To be a part of your community, I'm sponsoring. This will be my third a block party, but we also have these street fairs in various neighborhoods in Park Slope, and I'm there. I bring the popcorn machine. I give out popcorn for free. I'm covered with grease by the time I'm done. But I've also given out a ton of business cards and have shown that I am your neighbor. And just like Kenny, on every Wednesday, I go to the neighborhood potasserie from 2 to 3, and I buy your coffee. I buy your coffee. And people turn around like, why are you buying me coffee? I say, so I can talk to you. We don't talk to each other nowadays with these stupid phones and text messages, blah, blah, blah. And I miss talking to people. And you know what? People really respond to that. I've gotten 5 responses to that in the last 2 weeks. So it works.
It 100%. And here's the thing. Is there going to be a failure rate? Of course there is. of course people are going to say, wow, that's a little creepy. Or somebody's going to say, are you hitting on me? Or that it's going to happen. But I'll tell you this, there's more of my coaching clients that worry about what will go wrong than what will actually go right. The last I checked, very few people have been shot, at least in this country, for buying a cup of coffee for somebody. Does it happen? Of course it does. I mean, we know there's a lot of, my grandmother would have called them mashuganas in the world, and crazies. There's plenty of mashuganas. But what we actually have to look at is what is the code that's actually going to work for you. I've got people who've come to me and said, well, the last coach that I worked with said I have to make cold phone calls. So do you like to make cold phone calls? No, then don't ever make a cold phone call again. Don't do it. There's another route for you. Unless you could actually get comfortable with something. It's not about making you into a different person. This is not this is not like Rosemary's Baby and demonic possession. Okay, this is real estate. We could figure this out, guys. I mean, that's really the bottom line. Let's go on with some other thing before we get to wants, needs, and brags. I want to talk about the various tools that all of you are using. As far as staying front and center from people, we got social media. Some of you are posting, how many people, just seeing a show of hands, and you could raise your hand virtually if you don't mind. How many people are posting on social media more than 10 times a week? Okay, maybe. Good. Okay, how many people are doing it more than 15 times a week? Okay, good. Anyone else? How many people are posting 50 times a week? Not too many of you. Okay.
2 to 4 inches per hour. So
who's got their audio on?
Right or so along that Gulf Coast region. We're going to head to your local.
Okay, got him. This guy KK or whoever it was. I just was able to silence it. If it's not going to be social media, it's got to be something. If it's not going to be giving out coffee, it's got to be something. Too many people are using hope as a strategy, and it's not. It's just not. You might say, some people say, well, I produce, I don't know if a forum like yours is really for me. Okay, great. It might not be. What works? What is the right thing for you? How far do you need to go? What is it that you need to do? Colin, was that a hand up or was that a hand from before?
That was a hand for how many times do you post on social media?
Okay, how many? Just because I missed it.
Well, I use like some auto posting tools, so it's probably close to like 50 if you combine all of my accounts across all the social media. I'm posting more, probably about 50 times a week.
Okay, good.
I use this. There's this tool. I don't know if you've heard of it, called Deliver It, but it's an auto posting tool.
I have
where you can share, like, you choose the website that you want to share from, like New York Post or CNBC or Mansion Global or whatever, and then you schedule it to like auto post, and you can control like the frequency. And then I also use Keeping Current Matters as well, which is another real estate content machine.
Okay, Daniel, are you on both of those? Yeah.
But I also create my own. I do my own videos. Like, I try to do like one a week, but it's more like one every 2 weeks.
Okay, look, small incremental success. That's what we're really trying to go for. If you guys want to sit and work on the perfect avatar for yourself, meaning what is going to be from day one for just a week in a life of you, it's a great exercise for you to do. What is it going to be? I don't want you to actually just say, well, I'm going to make cold phone calls. What is going to be all the things that go into your week? Forget scheduling it for now. Make an endless list of all that stuff. And then we could selectively reduce what you don't want and focus on the stuff that you actually do want, to do that small incremental steps for an ongoing period of time. Everyone's heard me say this more than once. For those that are new, that are here from the past, I'm sorry, I've got to say it again. A very good friend of mine celebrating 30 years of sobriety. He goes to AA every day. Yes, it's an enormous success for him. I'm very proud of him. He's been a good friend for a long time. And whenever he sends me a lead in Florida, he's in New York. I said, well, how do you know the guy? He goes, Ed, how do you think I know the guy? Now, the people that he sends me are also very public about their sobriety. He would never tell me or make an introduction about like that. if they weren't. But what's interesting is he gets to AA every day. Now, just think about, let's use AA as the model for a second. You're meeting a group of people on a regular basis, like you do here. So Terry should start to be familiar to many of you. Now, Greg, my new friend, people, Kenny, these are faces that should start to get familiar. And if you actually pick up the phone, they're going to say, oh, yeah, I saw you in the meeting, even if you never spoke to them before. But beyond that, there's new people coming in that you're meeting on a regular basis. What AA is doing is that on steroids, because you're actually meeting, and it's a group of people that are committed to helping one another. If I tell you every single one of his clients are in the program, and every single one of his clients that he sends me is someone who is a recovering alcoholic. Wonderful people, people that have really cared enough to take care of themselves. That's the whole thing. How do we replicate the AA model without the negativity, without actually being, going in? Again, if some of you want to run off to an AA meeting, knock yourselves out. I'm not saying that you should, but I'm saying that it will work. And if you really stop and take a good look at that as a model, that's the quintessential way to build the brand. I'm not saying that you need to run off to the AA meeting. What I am saying is that the model actually works. A core group of people that you become friendly with on a regular basis, and an endless stream of new people that's going in. What's the difference between that and my sending letters out, or my going over to the club this afternoon to be able to meet with as many people as I possibly can? Most of you aren't doing it. Most of you are secret agents. Don't do that. You got to be public. You got to be out there. Okay, so let's okay,
One model of AA is attraction, not promotion. Right.
Okay.
That's what AA is about.
Say that again.
Attraction, not promotion. So you just attract people. So if you're everywhere, I think I know who you're talking about. If he's the agent in LA, because that's all he does is go.
He's not now. He's not now. He's in New York. He's not,
yeah. Guy here drives his Mercedes. He's always dressed in a suit, and he just kicks butt. And so all he does is send letters to him, and everybody's in AA. So he makes $500,000 a year.
Yeah. No, listen. There is business to be gotten, but it's too many people when it actually comes to this. If you really stop and study the characteristics of the winning agents, they're not jumping on just everything. They really are truly focused on an area. And I've got some people who've come to this meeting. They took a 1% commission on a listing that was an hour away from them. They were so obsessed, I think, in getting any business, that they would do something that is clearly going to be a loss. I mean, I spoke with him afterward. It's clearly not going to be a winner, but they feel as though they're winning. It's kind of like when you sit at your computer and you click send and receive 1,000,000 times on your email and you think you're actually working. You're not. You're not. It's not about piling up so much crap that you're going to, that, wow, I've done something today. It's about the productivity. And the productivity is a highly personal thing. You need to be able to define all that. So Kenny, very briefly, go ahead.
They say, name the top 3 agents in your farm. And if you're not one of them, then you're not doing enough promotion.
Yeah.
Because out here, people interview 3 people. And so, just ask, I knock on doors a lot, and I'll talk to them and ask them, have agents come to you today, or who are they? And then, you could see if you're in the running even. So
there was a study, and Daniel, help me look this study up after the meeting. I'll post it on the Facebook page and on our website. There was a study done where they took a fictitious agent. My fictitious go-to name is always Joe Schmidlap. So they took Joe Schmidlap and they made a fake picture of him and all this stuff. And they sent a letter a week for 8 weeks out to everyone, and various types of letters, various sizes. Everyone says, well, what's the right size? I hear this from my coaching clients. What size letter? Go do the whole buffet. Go on with different stuff. People see these different, and they sent it out for 8 weeks. And then they walked a dog around the neighborhood of 200 homes and just randomly asked people, who's the #1 agent in your area? And you know what they said? They said this fictitious guy. The guy doesn't even exist. He doesn't even exist in the real world. By the way, what they did was probably illegal. You can't send blind ads out or all that. So it was an interesting little sociological study. But isn't that remarkable that in 8 weeks' time, with a fictitious name, they made a fictitious person the #1 person in the area? Daniel, please help me find that study. I just think it's so worth analyzing and discovering, because all of you are just not giving yourself the time enough it takes to mature. You know, somebody's going to get the business, damn it. It might as well be you. Paula, go ahead.
Okay,
Hear
so
ya.
one of the easiest things that
Yeah.
I think that you could do is wear your name tag every single day.
Okay.
When people see you and they'll ask you questions. You're
Sure.
around, you're in the supermarket, getting your coffee, whatever, they will ask you questions. Very low cost, high visibility.
This is absolutely something that will work. It's not part of my brand in my space. I'm not, you know, it's not that thing. But here's the thing, the agents that I know that do it make a lot of money. Remember what I said in the beginning, not everything is going to be for everybody, but I applaud you doing that. I think that's great. You want to do something right now? If anyone wants to make a deal like in the next month, here's what you do. You go to a website, you get a t-shirt made up that said, I will pay you $5 if you ask me a real estate question that I cannot answer. And then you staple the $5 to your business card. People can't resist. Now, this is not my brand. This is not something that I could do here. However, I did have a t-shirt made up and I did experiment it for myself. And you know what? It does work. It really does. It really. Now, again, you might think it's cheap and cheesy and it doesn't go along with your brand, and that's fine. Don't do it. But if you got the guts to do it, just a t-shirt that says, ask me a real estate question. If I can't answer it, I'm saying it wrong, but we got to paraphrase it a little bit differently. I will pay you $5. And then you just go get yourself a stack of five, staple them to your business card, and then go out there. And even if if it's somebody who you really think is real and you answer the question, still give them the card with the $5. Fuck it. Right? I mean, if you really want to try and do something crazy, that actually works. Paul Zwieben's not here, but he has a pig roast every year. He has a couple hundred people going to a pig roast. He said that with a vegan on the line here. They got grossed out. You're making a choice here, guys. It's not going to work with everybody. He's still a great guy, despite the fact that he's a carnivore. Everyone loves him. He's still a great guy. But there's some things that are not going to resonate with everyone. Okay, let's, anyone else before we get to wants, needs, and brags, and then we're going to talk a little bit about technology and about some of the changes that are going on in AI. Okay, wants, needs, and brags. Now's the time for you to actually talk about what you want, what you need, and what you'd like to brag about. It could be about a kid graduating high school. It could be about a deal that you just landed. It could be about, being able to figure something out that you weren't able to do. Now's the time to do it. Please, nobody likes to be first. So have the guts, raise your hand, and let me pick on you. It won't be bad. Anyone who's been sitting in the background, Margaret maybe, or
Yes.
Margaret, hi. Who are you? Where are you?
I'm a realtor out in the suburbs of Atlanta, Georgia. So I'm in Douglasville, Georgia. I haven't been doing it that long.
Okay, welcome to the industry.
Yes, I was working, and I still am working a full-time job in medical sales.
Okay.
I did get my real estate license during the pandemic because I wanted to buy a property myself.
Great.
And I had some other rental properties. So I thought it would be a good time for me to do it.
I hate this thing because I hit the answer button.
Hold on, Randy, you're on a live mic.
And I was clicking on it, and then it looked like it was going to answer, and then you were gone.
Are you talking to me?
So what's going on?
Randy?
Yeah.
Okay, we're in the middle of something with Margaret. Could I get to you in a second?
Okay.
Okay, so Margaret, go ahead.
So I joined last week for the first time because I said if I get 3 good things out of this, like if I join 3 times, I would definitely join. Last week, you guys talked about in your community, if somebody's passed away, how to go about doing that.
Yes.
And so I've had that happen in my community. I moved into an older community and I've had it happen several times. But I actually, with some of the advice was given last week, went up to one of the houses. They're going to have an estate sale this weekend. But I went up there early and talked to the brother who now owns the house. Mm-hmm. And I was able to kind of get a listing with having the courage to do it with talking to you guys. So I do appreciate that. So
I'm getting
Kudos to
emotional.
you.
Margaret, I'm getting extremely emotional. No, that's great. I love when it's not a symptom of disease making money. And you know what? If you think that it's a
Yes.
bad thing, sometimes then give it to your church or your synagogue or your mosque or wherever you belong. I think that's good for you, Margaret. You could I tell you something? You made it
Yes.
a week, and I'd like to catch up with you by phone if you have the time.
Okay.
Okay, thank
But
you.
so this week I said, well, that could have been a fluke. I'll get on again this week to see. But somebody is starting a book club, which is something I'm very interested in. It is in my community here. So I figure I can even join the book club as part of my community. And I can probably get some business, even though that's not what I'm going for. But it is a start of getting my name out there and people knowing what I'm doing, because I would eventually like to get out of traveling every week and start doing real estate more so full time, because I'm getting too old to travel every single week in the airport.
Okay.
So again, this
You
week,
don't
this
sound
has
older than
been
me, but okay.
again, and that picture does look like me. I just came back from my walk and jumped on the computer, so you don't want to see me now.
No, no worries.
So this week, again, it was about the community. I think that this is a great idea for me to move forward with joining the book club and starting to get my name out there. And that's what I want to do more and more. So this has been, I don't know whether this was a brag or anything, but these last 2 weeks have been very beneficial for me, and I really appreciate it.
Well, we appreciate you, and I'm really glad that you had that. And yes, keep it up, and let's definitely catch up by phone. Ron, was it you who was just trying to mention something?
I think it was Randy.
Randy, was it Randy? Was Randy trying to say something? You'd need to unmute in order to speak, maybe, kind of, sort of.
I wasn't trying to say something, but I can.
Okay, so no, so your mic was on, so that's why it was kind of going.
That's weird. I hadn't touched it. So
no worries. No, look, it's no big deal. We'll just briefly, where you are and who are you?
I am Randy Harbin. I'm in Joplin, Missouri.
Ah.
I am brand new. I mean, I got my license last December, but have been trying to struggle and learn things on my own. I just got my first listing. It went live last Friday morning and went under contract last Friday night.
Look at you.
So I had told my sellers that the house would go quickly. It's in a really good area. Actually, I live in the same neighborhood, and I told them to prepare, and they said, well, we're planning to move in August, first week of August anyway. So little did I know it would go the same day. So and so they're thrilled, and it's inspections today, so send good vibes this way. What I'm trying to learn is basically what I've heard this morning, ideas of getting out there, whether it's buy coffee or join a book club or whatever it is, to let people know I'm here and clearly capable, since I sold a house in a day.
Yeah, of course you are. Of course you are. And I think, 100%, that's exactly, like I said, I believe real estate is sold almost on a spectrum, that you need to decide where on the spectrum you really want to be. I can't stand when there's certain coaches that will say, what worked last year won't work this year. That's their attempt to keep you as the client. The fact is, what worked last year will work this year. Are there new things to use? 100%. But I personally look at this and I just say it's ridiculous. Cold calling worked last year, it'll work this year. Going to meetings worked last year, it'll work this year. What the fuck are you talking about? It's really, I mean, I hate to be so blunt. I don't hate it, but some people think that that's a little harsh. But the whole idea behind sales is that consistency of cutting out what doesn't work and increasing that. And Randy, if you figured that out, at least the start, you have the opportunity to fail as well. Maybe it was something that was just a fluke. Maybe it was something, but I doubt it. You should definitely keep it up. This is a great opportunity for experimentation. It really, truly is. And it's certainly something where you shouldn't be beating yourselves up. That's the other thing I hear all the time. Agents beat the crap out of themselves. The rest of the world doesn't do it the way you do it. You don't need to take up an enemy. You've got one right within yourself in many cases. So I think that that's really, really important. Thank you for sharing that. Anyone else before I show you a couple of ChatGPT tricks that are pretty cool? Anyone? 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 Okay. Actually, this one is a, let me just see here, or perplexity trick. Perplexity is an AI with, which personally I think is pretty cool. It's perplexity.ai. Let's see here. Yeah, Perplexity. That's Perplexity. And one of the things that it has is a page section. You see this here, what says page? And one of the things that I could do is click on this and say something like, what would, Randy, where did you say you are? In Missouri?
Yes, Joplin, Missouri.
Okay, what would a President Harris mean to Joplin? Randy?
Correct.
I can't spell. How do I spell Missouri? Sorry, guys.
MISSO.
Capital M-O.
Yeah, or you
Capital
can do
M-O. Okay, we'll go with that.
yes.
What would it mean to Joplin, Missouri? And then say give pros and cons. Okay. So again, getting into politics could be a very slippery slope, a dangerous thing, but this thing will actually make the blog post for you. And it will be, in many cases, extremely personalized to your area. Now, again, I'm not sure what's going on with here. We could say, and actually add different sections. We could say, talk briefly about local economy here. Okay, so you can add various sections, and this thing will actually write the thing. So here, Joplin's local economy. So now we've got all these stats about what's going on with the local economy. We've got the President Harris thing here. We're adding some media, so we could take that. There's different media that you just click on, and there she is again. And healthcare policy changes, and there she is again. And again, some of you might absolutely hate her. Some of you might absolutely love her. I don't really care. That's not what this is all about. Here, I'm going to publish it. I'm going to copy the link, and I'm going to close this out. And there, you all now have a blog post. Congratulations. Okay, is it worth posting? Probably not. You probably need to put a little bit more time into it. But that's just one trick that I want all of you to take from this meeting, that if you're looking for content, look no farther than what's going on in the national news and then localize it. And then localize it. What would President Harris mean to Joplin, Missouri? What would a Trump presidency mean to Joplin, Missouri? I mean, now you're getting extremely specific, and that's where you really need to be. If you're the one providing that, is it going to start some debates? Yeah. I tell everyone, I want to stay right down the middle. I've made money under Trump. I made money under Biden. I'm going to continue to make money because I don't think, who's in office should dictate whether I make money or not. And I think it's a fool that puts themselves just so squarely into one camp that they're going to reject certain business. Look, I make no bones about it. I'm Jewish. I look at this, I look at the anti-Semitism that's going on in the country. I think it's absolutely horrific. But, short of being able to stand up for myself, which I personally have made it my personal mission, I'm not going to just be in someone's face with what their beliefs really are, or question that. If they choose to dislike me for that, well, then that's their problem. Be very, very careful as the election approaches. Be very, or fuck it, don't. Just blow it. It doesn't matter to me. This is your business. But just be very keenly aware that most of the top producers, and you can, it's some outliers that are going to be, you know, speaking at the Democratic National Convention or the Republican Convention, you know, we got that. But the objective of this group is to actually make money. Okay. Anyone else? We got Terry, who's turned his camera off. I don't know why he did that. You're not supposed to turn your camera off.
I'm driving.
Okay. Well, we're gonna need you in a second. Is your voice okay?
My voice is not driving, so it's okay.
Okay. So eyes in front, hands on the wheel. Okay, guys. I'm really delighted that to have seen all of you. Daniel, when's the next meet? You got to unmute.
Friday.
Friday. Do we have a topic for Friday?
Yes, sir.
Can you tell me what that is? Do I have it? Do I know?
I just put it in the chat.
What was the developing an apex predator mindset for real estate success? Okay. It's this month, like I said, we've deliberately gone low tech with all of the stuff. We've got other stuff as well. Coaching clients, let's make sure that we've got time for one-on-ones on the schedule. We really need to make your investment in this pay off. I mean, that's really a very big factor here. We just really need to actually decide and go down whatever route we want to go down, but you just have to pick a lane. Daniel, thank you for that. If anybody wants to come to that, please do let us know. Love to have you. And Terry, you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, that's great. When he's ready, it makes me want to say, it sure is great seeing all of you. I really love it when you come to these meetings, and I look forward to seeing all of you Friday, 12 noon Eastern Standard Time for another exciting episode of
Rain Nation.
Audio is okay that day. We'll do it next time. Guys, thank you so much for coming. I hope to see all of you real soon. Take care.
Okay, bye.